So hello everyone, welcome here to Barcelona, Spain for round number 3 of the 2017 NASA RallyCross Challenge season presented by AmSoil. We have had action-packed races the last 2 events, but we're still in Europe, so anything can happen. As it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call as always for the Automotive Sports Network. Format for today's race is the same as the last 2 weeks, except for Dylan Smith. Last week's winner will not be here today, so we have 9 cars, but it's still 2 quarterfinals. Winner transfers, 2 semifinals, winner transfers, LCQ with a top 2 transfer, and then the final with 6 cars and 8 laps. We've got a special for you today. Hopefully we can implement this for all the future NASA races, but we have an open communication to the driver's scanners. This is going to be interesting.
Free pull up. A little bit more. A little bit more. Good.
Revving them up, getting ready to go for the first quarterfinals here in Barcelona. It's Johnson on pole, then it's Hagenstein, then it's Erdman and Wetz. Getting ready. 1 car will transfer and get 2 bonus points. It's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, it's going to be Wetz leading Erdman into turn 1, followed by Johnson and Hagenstein. Contact between Wetz and Johnson.
527.
As you heard the call from race control, penalty box to the 527. Off of corner number 3.
Yes, that was a good call.
It's Erdman leading Hagenstein. You already know Hagenstein's upset because of the lack of room here on the pit straightaway. And this will put Wetz still in 3rd and Johnson in 4th. So this is going to be interesting to see how the Joker is going to unravel, as the Joker here is on the outside of turn 3. Rounding the final corner.
I'm pretty sure Cody's got this.
End of 1 leads.
Erdman leads, followed by Hagenstein. As the interesting feature, contact with him in the wall as Erdman's into the wall. Hagenstein nearly follows him.
Fucking spooked me.
Yeah.
Oh my god. My bad.
As Erdman still leads from Hagenstein. Wetz got by Tristan actually for the 2nd spot. As I thought Hagenstein had spun it, it puts him to the lead as Erdman had jokered. So my mistake, Hagenstein leads Erdman,
Well.
who leads Wetz.
Oh well, let's go to Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
As Erdman struggling in car number 1, following Hagenstein, his teammate, and he nearly gets turned by Wetz in the 23.
End of 2, 3 leads, warning 1 for track limits.
Because side by side are Wetz and Erdman. Wetz slides it and slams into the wall in the 23.
Oh my god.
So Hagenstein will joker in car number 3. This puts Erdman back to the lead, as everyone discussing over the radio about Wetz. Hopefully he is okay, but the accident that was occurred in turn number 1, we'll try and get a report on Chris Wetz's condition. But meanwhile, the teammates are battling here on lap number 2. Coming to begin lap number 3. Off of the final corner, Erdman leads at the end of lap 3, cross flags.
End of 3, 1 leads.
Hagenstein pushing hard, trying to take the fight to him. They both jokered, so this is a straight up race now between these guys. And this bowl corner, turn 3, is very tricky because it drops away right on the exit there, so you have to make sure you can get the line right. Otherwise, it's a rough time to get through the corner. Wetz, like I said, it looks like he's climbed out of the car after that massive wreck in turn 1, or turn 2, sorry. He has climbed out of the car, and he has walked back to behind the wall. The marshals have tended to the car. So Johnson's still in 3rd. Erdman slides it in the 1. This is going to put his teammate through to the lead. So Hagenstein will take the lead in quarterfinal 1, as we've seen Erdman struggle the last couple weeks. And this is proving it. Hagenstein leads.
4, 3 leads.
2 to go for Tristan Hagenstein now in car number 3. He is not the fastest man on the circuit, which is interesting. He is slower than Wetz and slower than Erdman, but yet he's leading the race, but that means no mistakes.
What is going on?
I hope Cody does this in the final.
Erdman, second. All over the track in car number 1.
I don't know what's going on with him, but he's all over the place.
But he does not hold the red plate, but he does hold the number 1, and potentially the number 1 is a very heavy plate to carry. From Erdman, driver from Wisconsin, runs under the German license. As a lot of these guys run under different nationalities, paying homage to their family heritage or whatever it may be. As Hagenstein still leads.
End of 5, 3 leads, white flag.
As a race control, doing my job for me. As Hagenstein still leads. He runs it wide in turn 2 there. Runs onto the berm. And into turn number 3, the very long left-hand corner. And back onto the backstretch. All over the place. You see the rear end just jumps and drops away from you, so it's very tricky to control the car. Exiting turn 3. Turn 4 is basically the whole back straightaway. Now into turn 5, so it tightens. Think of turn 1 and 2 in Shanghai, China for the F1 boys. Into turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, and then turn 9, the hairpin. So there's a lot of corners right in this infield section, and Tristan Hagenstein will survive the calamity of quarterfinal 1, and he will win and take 2 bonus points.
Checkered flag
in Barcelona.
Winning quarterfinal 1, and 2 bonus points goes to the 3.
Now exiting the pit lane will be Mertz, Livingood, Kraus, and Lester.
Oh, rip.
I seriously cannot concentrate.
So this is going to be interesting because we had this lineup in the LCQ last weekend between Livingood, Mertz, Kraus, Lester, and we saw what happened in that event. So this is going to be interesting as these boys have come together multiple times.
I honestly think I got too comfortable with the track and just, it's like, oh yeah, because this track's so easy for me.
And Erdman, you're hearing on the radio discussing what happened.
Well, I don't have to push hard to run faster.
Oh. Okay, so you don't run me over. It's the 2 grid choices 2, 13, 21, 19.
And gridding up for the second quarterfinal. Mertz is taking the outside pole. This is going to be interesting, but I think he knows that the wider entry into
Cody,
turn 1
up,
helps a lot.
Yep.
Pole position
So far,
will
good.
go to Kraus in the 19, followed by Lester, Livingood, and Mertz.
Yep, good. Let's go racing.
6 laps, Joker once. If you can count laps, please.
Getting ready for the second quarterfinal. 6 laps, Joker once.
Nope.
Winner advances here in Barcelona. Getting ready, green flag. Off the line, Lester, no, it was Livingood smashing Mertz into the wall. I believe that's a red flag. It is.
Sorry, Josh. Whoever was next to me was warping real bad.
That's fine.
Goes back to what I said, these grids need to be bigger.
I don't have any room to expand the grid.
Knock the wall down. I just blew a gear. That was nice.
A lot of discussion here about what's going on.
So what if we switch the Joker and the grid?
What?
What if we took where the grid is and put it where the Joker is?
What?
You mean the regular course? Like the front stretch?
Okay, it's not that tight. That was my fault because the car next to me was warping, and so I was
tight though. I'm just saying as an idea, what if we took where the grid is and made that the Joker?
What are you talking?
No, it's fine.
Looks like Erdman's a little confused here.
We can't change it mid-race.
No, I'm not talking this race. I'm talking for like the next race.
Oh.
Honestly, that makes sense. Like, make that the Joker.
Yeah.
Living good pull up. Mertz, pull up. Back up a little bit. Casey, pull up. Alright, you guys are good.
Getting ready to go for the restart of quarterfinal 2. Kraus, Lester, Livingood, and Mertz. Green flag. Off the line, much cleaner this time. Livingood leads Mertz teammates side by side into turn number 1. Whole shot went to Livingood, but he's nearly around. This puts Mertz battling with Kraus, exiting the dirt. To the Joker on the first lap go the Area 52 teammates. It's Kraus and Lester. This leaves Livingood and Mertz. That was a scary, almost incident between everybody in turn 2.
Those two behind me, Joker.
Yep.
Strategy already unraveling between the MRT boys on the scanner as Livingood will lead Mertz. On the outside, Mertz will try it on his friend and rival. 21 damage on the rear wing. You can hear them talking about it. Very tricky in the third sector here.
He doesn't have any rear downforce.
End of 1, 21.
As Livingood leads, Mertz is threatening in car number 2. As the teammates battling for third. Livingood struggling in the 21. To the Joker goes Livingood. Let's see how this unravels the strategy. Mertz takes the lead in car number 2. That puts Livingood to second. Teammates battling for third and fourth. They have not changed spots. It's a very sunny day here in Barcelona, Spain, but still everyone's getting used to these 6-speed gearboxes and the higher downforce, as we've got the valence on the front and the rear spoilers. They are very important here with this package, and I think Dylan Livingood struggling in the 21. As the rear wing...
This lap?
End of 2, car number 2.
Probably.
As let's see what will happen. Mertz struggling under braking in car number 2. Let's see what will happen if he will Joker. Now he does. Let's see what this strategy does to car number 2. I don't believe he's going to hold the lead from Livingood, but they're going to come out side by side together. He hits the wall.
I think he's got you. He's got you.
And this puts Livingood back into the lead. Over the berm goes car number 2, nearly hitting a wall. And Livingood holding the spot. But what will Mertz do? Kraus is lurking in the background if these two make a mistake. So the young Canadian can try and take the fight for himself. And we've seen these guys come together at this very track last season. They battled for 7th.
He's back in the sun.
Like it was the end of the world. Livingood still leads.
End of lap 3, 21.
Cross flags for Livingood in the 21. You hear the discussion on the radio. Mertz thinks he's backing him up into Kraus, and this is going to be interesting.
21 warning on track limits.
No jokers left, I do believe, so this is a straight-up race between these guys. Between Livingood, Mertz, and Philip Kraus now, as Lester way back in the back. He is out of the equation in the 13. Kraus battling Mertz. Will this help Livingood? Remember, he's got a wounded car with that rear wing being bent, so we don't know what will that do, or what that has been doing to car number 21. Very loose. Mertz is just going to take the fight to himself. To the inside, through the infield. That's very difficult to do. Sliding on the outside goes car number 2. Contact with him and Kraus.
Penalty box, 19. End of 4, 21.
2 to go.
Was 4, right?
Yep.
That was tough racing. Very tough racing. And this holds Livingood's lead.
Go back and look, because I don't want to miscount.
Kraus,
It is.
Mertz, Lester, your running
Might have been
order.
end of 5.
Double checking.
Livingood holds the lead. It's going to be interesting if Kraus can take this fight here, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. I think we're coming to the white flag here in Barcelona. White flag in Spain for Dylan Livingood.
End of 5:21 leads white
Yep,
flag.
it's end of 5. We looked.
Alright, sorry.
I don't think, as Kraus penalty box,
Sorry,
it looks
confusion
like
there, guys.
in the 19. This puts the 2 back to second, but I think he's too far to do anything with it. I don't think he's going to be able to take the fight. To Dylan Livingood in car number 21. Let's go on board the rear of this car and show you the gap that he's got. You can't even see the 2. So I think Livingood's just going to cruise home in the 21. Mertz dejected over the radio.
And I went to the outside and then Bill dumped me, so.
Dejected in car number 2 will take him to the semifinal, but this man will not. Off the final corner, Dylan Livingood wins the quarterfinal in Barcelona.
Quarterfinal 2.
Then he saw you guys go to the bomb, so I don't think he was expecting you guys to be up there.
19 second.
Yeah, I don't think Phil was expecting you guys to be up there.
13 third. 2 fourth. To be guard. To be
Getting ready for the first semifinal.
5:27, 23.
It's going to be
Good choice.
Erdman on the outside pole.
Everybody's lined up. 4 laps, Joker once.
Wetz and Johnson. 4 laps, Joker once. The winner advances out of this race. This is going to be an easier launch onto the straightaway, as there's only 3 cars getting ready to go for the semifinal. Green flag. Wetz will jump to the early lead. Erdman will beat him potentially to turn 1. Yes, the outside groove prevails into turn 1. Whole shot goes to Erdman, followed by Wetz and Johnson. Wetz immediately jokers in the 23. Johnson holds second. Much quieter radio chatter this race, as there's only 3 cars. Johnson will stay in second. Looks like he looped it, though. He did loop it in the 5:27, the American from Oklahoma. And that takes him out of the running. This puts Erdman holding the lead by a comfortable margin over Wetz in the 23. Off of the final corner, this puts Erdman in the lead at the end of the first lap.
End of 1 leads.
Wetz in second. And this is going to be interesting. Erdman didn't joker, so the strategy hasn't unraveled yet. Now it has, and we'll see how the strategy comes about. Erdman hits the wall, so there is no strategy. Wetz to the lead. As Erdman is self-destructing here in Spain. Not really sure as to why, but something going wrong in car number 1. This has Erdman still second, Wetz in the lead, and remember Johnson struggled in the 5:27 back in third, so we're coming to halfway. Cross flags for Wetz. Erdman has clawed this gap back, though. I think Wetz is driving very conservatively, so he doesn't have any issues. Well, let's see. 2 to go for Wetz in car number 23.
End of 2, 23 leads.
Very quiet on race control, like I mentioned earlier. Erdman peeked to the inside. Wetz didn't have to defend this time, but it's going to be really tricky, as if he leaves the bottom open like that, you know Erdman's going to take the fight. As Erdman learned last week, if you leave a very small gap open, it's going to get taken up on you. As remember, Dylan Smith took that to him in the final, and he lost the race because of that. Erdman gassed at mid-corner, trying to get all of the advantage that he can over Chris Wetz. Through the infield. And back past the penalty box and the pit lane entrance. Off of the final corner, Wetz will lead with the white flag in the air.
End of 3, 23 leads, white flag, warning to 1 on track limits.
Wetz holds the lead. Erdman in second. Erdman, I don't think, has the pace to be able to get it to Wetz here today. I really don't think that he's going to have the pace. He's getting close, but every time he gets close, something goes wrong to where he can't take the advantage. To the inside he looked. Wetz looks like he's riding the cushion there like a dirt track racer, but Erdman takes the fight to the inside. They're getting really close in the infield here in Barcelona. On the outside goes Erdman. They're getting close. They touch. They touch again. And around goes Wetz. As Erdman stopped to let Wetz through. And in the final corner, Erdman hits the wall again. And Wetz will win.
Checkered flag for the first semi. It's going to be the 23, then the 1. On the outlap.
Yeah, I've blown gears on the outlap before it happens.
Sounds like Philip Kraus has blown first gear, or fourth gear, sorry.
That happened to me, and I asked if I could
On the
reset,
outlap.
and it was a no, so.
As
2:13.19 grid choice.
Josh, pull up. Cross, move back.
Mertz is on pole. Kraus is second. Lester is third.
Good. Zach, pull up.
Getting ready to go in car, or the
Casey, wherever you are.
ready to go
Yes,
for
yes,
the
I'll be right there.
second semi-final here in Barcelona. Green flag. It's Mertz and Kraus off the line, side by side together into turn 1. Side by side, Mertz holds the outside. He takes the lead and passes Philip Kraus. To the Joker goes nobody on the first lap of the race. It's the Area 52 boys versus Josh Mertz in car number 2. And this is going to be interesting. Philip Kraus does not have fourth gear. I don't know how that's going to hinder him here in Barcelona. Typically, it's a very bad thing to not have. As Mertz slides it in the 2. But I don't think you get to
Anybody
fourth
joke
gear,
behind me or no?
except on the back straightaway.
Nope. I don't think so. At least Philip didn't.
Strategy unraveling. Lester into the
I
wall.
don't think Casey did either.
Mertz slides it.
End of 1, 2.
As this is going to be interesting, can Philip Kraus take the fight without a gear? Mertz Jokers in the 2. This is going to put Kraus temporarily through the lead, and if he can hold the delta without fourth gear, let's take a look at the telemetry here. We got it on our feed. Looks like Mertz hits fourth gear exiting turn 3.
Whichever one's correct.
But he can skip directly to fifth gear, you got to remember, with six speed boxes, but he's going to be bogging himself down whenever he's got to do that switch. If this was last season when you only had 4 gears, you'd have been done for, as you would not have your top end gear. But Kraus still holds the lead. Mertz getting close in car number 2. Cross flags for Philip Kraus.
End of 2, 19.
And once you get the pattern of going into turn 1, they have to cut that grass so close. Kraus takes it to the Joker in the 19. This will put the 2 back to the lead. And let's see if he can pull away. Kraus is at the top of the shot there, lurking on car number 2, right behind him. Lester struggling in the 13 in the back of the shot, behind these 2 by a far margin.
42 on track limits.
10-4. I didn't know if I did or not.
Coming to the white flag.
Was I over the curb?
You came close.
10-4. I knew it was a little close, sorry.
White flag. Track limits talk being discussed.
End of 3, 2 leads. White flag.
Whole time I'm like, I gotta go six laps.
Kraus is
I
trying
used to
really
be in
hard.
these.
Really hard to try and take this fight, but I don't think he's going to get it.
Vice versa.
As Mertz pulling away, 53.978 was his last lap. Kraus's last lap was a 56 flat, 2 seconds faster. There's no way that fourth gear could cause that. It's just down to the 2 being synchronized with the track. Out of the infield into the final couple of corners. This is going to put Mertz through the final. After a very tumultuous quarterfinal, he doesn't have to run the LCQ this time. Mertz wins the semifinal in Barcelona.
Checkered flag is going to go to the 2 car. Second will be 19. Okay.
Sorry.
Move, I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the 2 car loses his win. I felt like I was like right there. That's why.
Crowd.
LCQ lineup will be
Lester.
Johnson,
Lester.
Erdman,
Keep going.
Kraus, and Lester.
One more. 3 laps, Joker once, top 2 advance. Good luck, gentlemen.
This is going to be interesting.
Think I'm equal good enough?
As the fast guys are right in the middle, Lester struggles and Johnson's having struggles all season. 3 laps, Joker once. Getting ready, green flag in Barcelona. Contact between Johnson and Erdman on the start, and that put Erdman to 3rd. Nearly contact with him and Lester into turn 1.
Shades of last season.
Slamming it off the wall is Kraus and Johnson. Who will joker? Erdman jokers and Lester jokers already. Get the strategy out of the way.
Watch the front runners.
Lester and Erdman, Johnson and Kraus. And this is going to see if Philip Kraus can hold this gap. Because Erdman is coming. And he's coming very quickly in car number 1. Through the infield. He already dispatched of Zach Johnson in the 527. That's the privateer battle. Actually, my mistake. Zach Johnson is the only privateer here today.
And 1, 19 leads.
As Arnold Columbia is not here.
Sorry, that was my bad.
Contact
penalty.
between the 527 and the 13. 2 to go for Kraus.
Yeah, I was stuck in a bad spot.
But he has not jokered. So this is going to unravel the strategy. Will he joker now? Yes. So, look at the strategy. Look at the bottom of the screen for Cody Erdman. Where is he? There he is. And that will put him through to the lead in the LCQ. It's about a car length and a half, maybe 2, between these 2 drivers. The MRT driver and his own team driver. Remember, he owns Area 52 and races for MRT. Coming to the white flag. These 2 have already transferred through, so, I mean, they could race or they could cruise. But I don't know if Erdman likes to cruise like that.
End of 2, 1 leads, white flag.
So white flag for Erdman. Kraus is following him. These 2 are essentially into the final as long as they don't mess up, because Johnson and Lester are minding their own business. Johnson will win the Privateer Cup today. As Arnold Columbia, I might have mentioned earlier on in the show there was 9 cars. It was my mistake. Arnold Columbia not at the circuit today, so we only had
so Zach
the
has impaled himself on the wall.
8 cars.
Finish 8th, but win privateers.
Wow.
So Johnson has climbed out of the 527
Tonight, yes.
through the infield into the final couple of corners. Erdman will win the LCQ, it looks
Winning
like.
the LCQ will be car number 1. Transferring for the first time this season will be car number 19.
Smoking lap.
On the outside looking in, finishing 7th overall will be car number 13. 8th overall and 1st in privateers will be the 527.
Final time
That is my fastest
in
lap
Barcelona.
today.
Like, let Josh just pass me.
Final time in Barcelona.
Night, guys.
Later, nerd.
It's going to be Hagenstein on pole in car number 3. But, interestingly, he is not
So,
going to take pole position.
Grid
It's just
choice,
a turn.
Disconnected from your channel.
Living Good
grid
will take
choice
pole.
is the 3, the 21, the 23, the 2, the 1, and the 19.
Free Shavakadu.
Everybody pull up slightly.
I'm forfeiting the front row. So we're waiting for Cody. I think he ran to the bathroom.
So Erdman
527.
looks like he will grid up. And I saw him jump out of the car, run the porta potty behind the pit wall there, and now he's back into the car. So
I'm
Living Good on
forfeiting the front
pole.
row, so.
Hagenstein, Erdman,
Why?
Wetz,
Actually,
Mertz,
Tristan pulled
Kraus.
it like a hair.
Getting ready to go.
Okay, you're good. Everybody's
It
good.
was MRT versus Revolution the last
Eight
2
laps,
weeks.
Joker
Now
twice.
it's
Careful,
Kraus
guys. Good luck.
is the
Careful on the
6th
start,
car
guys.
getting ready to go
Good luck.
for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. And off the line, at the start-finish line, it was Living Good with Erdman side by side. Into turn 1, we know this is typically calamity. Erdman bounces it off the wall. Sliding was Living Good, and around he goes. And I think that's a red flag. But we'll have to wait and see.
That's 3 cars.
It was 3.
That was 3.
Red flag.
Just everyone was bouncing off each other. I couldn't do anything there.
Yeah, I don't really know what to call for that there.
So it looks like Erdman hit
Then
the
you
wall.
got sideways and then
Bounced in
next
front
thing
of
you knew, I
everybody.
was gonna have to run you over.
I got hit from behind in turn 1, and then I got
Yeah,
hit
I
again,
hit you
got
from
me
behind, but
sideways.
you were squared up going into the turn, and then you lost it again.
I think
Yeah, the
it's
first hit
just
was
all,
fine, it was
like,
the second
crazy.
and the third hits that spun me around.
Plus, no one should be.
Are
like
we allowed
that.
to change grids or not?
Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
So it's the 3, 21, 23, 2, and then the 1 and the 19.
So a little bit of strategy here. Looks like Erdman and Hagenstein will
One back
switch
up a bit.
grid spots.
Okay, we're good.
Attempt number 1. 8 laps, Joker twice.
Getting ready for the restart here in Barcelona. It's lights out and away we go. And off the line, Hagenstein gets a terrible start this time. It's still Erdman and Livinggood side by side. Wetz peeked at it. Contact between Hagenstein and
God
Erdman.
damn it!
That will send the 3 to the penalty box, and that takes Erdman out of it.
Is that just 1?
2.
Unfortunately. Penalty box 3.
Now,
I crashed too, but
this puts Mertz and Livinggood, and where have we seen this before? Battling for the lead. It's Philip Kraus in 3rd. Wetz in 4th. Erdman and Hagenstein for the 2nd consecutive week. Contact with another driver. Kraus, into the wall. Wetz trying to take the fight to him. Side by side for the lead are the best friends and bitter rivals. He checked him into the hairpin and put Mertz through to the lead. Livinggood now back in 2nd. And what will happen?
8 laps, correct?
Yes.
Mertz leads.
End of 1, 2 leads.
Livinggood
this is more
2nd.
shit.
Hagenstein upset over the radio. Apologies for the language there. Wetz in 3rd now. Kraus in 4th. Jokering is the 2. Let's see the strategy from the helicopter. Livinggood back to the lead. This will put Kraus in the 3rd spot still. Wetz, Erdman, and Hagenstein struggling in the 3. Mertz getting close to car number 21. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything unless the Joker unravels. Into the hairpin for the final time. Mertz slides it. Nearly contact between them. That was scary. Livinggood still leads.
End of 2, 21.
And Mertz is hunting down car number 21. 54.853 was Livinggood's fastest lap. Mertz was a 56.6 last lap because he took to the Joker. That's going to unravel the strategy as Livinggood slammed it off the wall. And Mertz back to the lead. But now the strategy really is going to question if Mertz can hold this lead. As we saw last time he was leading, that was in Valkens, where he slid the car. Livinggood was the beneficiary of that, and then immediately gave the lead back. So we'll have to see what happens. Battle for 3rd still raging on between Kraus and Wetz for the last step on the podium. As these two guys, Kraus
End
hasn't
of
been
whatever, 2 leads.
in
Sorry,
the
yeah,
final
three.
at all this season. This was his first final of 2017A, and he will Joker in car number 19, the young Canadian, for Area 52 Racing. Erdman, I think, is the fastest man on the track with a demolished car. 54.449. Fastest man on the circuit. He is faster than Mertz by 0.3 of a second, and Mertz set his fastest lap that last lap as well. 54.740. Erdman is on a charge in car number 1. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to do much about it, but we'll have to see. Can he claw his way back to the podium? That'd be a tall ask for car number 1.
End of 4:21 minutes halfway.
Halfway home in Barcelona. It's going to be Dylan Livingston still leading. 54.701, third quickest, but he's still slower than Mertz and Erdman. And he has to joker again. Let's see what this will do to the strategy. This puts Mertz back to the lead, and this is going to have Livingston fall into the clutches of his teammate. And we've seen what happens when these guys get close to one another. Erdman's still in 4th, 5th Kraus, 6th Hagenstein. From high above, this beautiful circuit in Barcelona, Spain, Mertz has a healthy margin over Dylan Livengood in car number 21. Then the other Revolution Racing car, Chris Wetz, is in the 3rd spot.
End of 5.
Last lap was a 54.069. Fastest man on the circuit, Josh Mertz, by 0.4 of a second. You saw timing and scoring pop up there for a moment. But then I think Erdman just reset that. Let's take a look through the field here. Livengood 56.997. Wetz 54.714. Erdman a 54.033. 300th faster than his teammate. And if these guys make a mistake, Erdman's going to be in this lead. Unbelievably in car number 1. You could see him almost at the end of the shot there. Rounding the hairpin. Mertz
End of 6, 2 lanes.
will still lead. 3 to go. Little bit of an issue under braking there in car number 2. Nothing to worry about. Livengood 2nd. And this is going to potentially change the podium. Look how demolished car number 1 is in the back bumper and the rear wing and the sides, and he is still faster than everybody else. You know, we had all that discussion about aerodynamics earlier on about Livengood. Yeah, I don't think it really applies, which is interesting. Or the Subaru has a different structure to the car where their rear wing is basically for show, but I'm not really sure. Holding 2nd, holding 3rd. The running order has not changed, but Mertz has a huge gap over the rest of the field.
2 lanes, white flag. Now.
In Barcelona. And I think Mertz is cruising 53.980. You know what he did? He set the fastest lap. And then this guy, actually no, it was Philip Kraus, sorry, who reset the fastest lap. These two are flying. And again, the damaged rear wing. So they spend millions of dollars on all this research and development for the wing to be damaged, and they're faster anyway. So that really doesn't make any sense. As what a battle by everybody else. But they weren't able to catch this guy. As Mertz will run through the final couple of corners, untouched in Barcelona, Spain, and hold the red plate again. Mertz wins in Spain for his 2nd win this season. Livengood 2nd, Wetz 3rd, Erdman 4th, 5th will be Kraus, 6th will be Hagenstein, 7th Lester, and 8th will be Zach Johnson. As holding the red plate again by 5 points. Going into next week will be Mertz in car number 2. And next week we go to Watkins Glen. So that's going to be very interesting for all the drivers, as we have never been there before. But we hope you can join us next week in Watkins Glen. We hope you enjoy that little added bit of race control and the driver scanner on our coverage today. Hopefully that added to the excitement of the NASA RallyCross Challenge. But we hope you enjoyed today's coverage here in Barcelona. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week in Watkins Glen. So long, everyone.